What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw Media. Alright, so before I get into this video, I want to give a big shout out to the brother Aram for showing love to the channel with a donation via the PayPal. Much respect to him for showing love to, in this case, Too Raw Media. So, this will be part one of a part two question. Alright? So, part two I'll do tomorrow. Part one was this. Part one was, in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, how would Steph Curry and Kevin Durant do in the 1980s? Alright? Now that's assuming that they had the same skill set, or just about the same skill set, as they developed in their actual careers, but going back, let's just say 30 years. So let's just say Steph Curry was drafted in 1979 and Kevin Durant 1977. All right, but the bulk of their career, the peak is in the 80s. Now, number one, let's talk about Kevin Durant for a second. So this would mean Kevin Durant would be 6'10", well, listed as 6'9", 215. But probably closer to 6'11", right? Now, because of the positions and the way they were back then, I would make the assumption that Kevin Durant would probably be something like a Bob McAdoo offshoot, probably playing power forward for the most part, at certain times playing center, and at certain times playing small forward, because of the fact that he has quickness compared to centers. You have a size advantage against small forwards, and he would have a quickness advantage against most power forwards. I don't think he'd be a dominating rebounder, as he hasn't been in his real life. I think he probably averaged about 7.5 rebounds, maybe a couple seasons averaging 8, close to 9. But what would be different about him would probably be, I don't know if, because of the way the game was played, I don't know if he would handle the basketball as much as he does in real life. I think that primarily he would play in the post. I think he probably would develop some sort of post game. I don't think he would have been a 3-point marksman to the degree that he is today, because of the way the game was played. Now remember, he's playing in the 80s. The bulk of his career is in the 80s, going into the 90s, where teams were taking between 2 to 7 3-pointers a game. It just was not seen at that time as a wide shot, and the only people that were really taking them in any sort of abundance were 3-point specialists. Those were guys like Danny Ainge and Craig Hodges, Chuck Person, later on Reggie Miller, guys like that. They were the ones who were shooting, and they would come off the bench. So I think that KD would probably be, like I said, they would try to make him something like a McAdoo, Bob McAdoo. So I think he would have had a tremendous mid-range game. He's hard working, So I think he'd have a tremendous mid-range game. I think he'd still be an awesome free throw shooter. I think he would have developed some post moves, and he still would have been a Hall of Fame player. What team? I don't know. But I think that he played a little bit differently. I don't think KD would have ever been like a lockdown defender. I think he had some promise as a shot blocker, but as a defensive anchor overall, I don't think he would be a great defensive anchor. I think his forte would be offense. But like I said, I think because of the times, I think his scoring will be a little bit different. It'll be because of the positional basketball that existed at that time. I think he probably played power forward more often, and as such would try to develop some power forward moves. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he ever would have been very strong, though. You know what I'm saying? I think he could have been something like now that I think about it, he could have been something like a mix between Bob McAdoo and Elvin Hayes. You know what I'm saying? He would never been a very overpowering guy, you know, but I could see him having a turnaround fadeaway like Elvin Hayes. You know, being able to match up against slower white guys and driving past them, occasionally dunking, you know, and ones, you know, shooting over shorter defenders. And yeah, I still think he'd get his buckets, man. I still think he would average 25, 26, 27. You know, I think he'd still be a star. Curry, on the other hand, is harder to predict. Curry is noted for a couple of things: his three-point prowess and his ball handling ability. I can't help but think in that era, because really, you know, it wasn't until with Allen Iverson they just started easing up on that. I can't help but think they would be calling Curry a lot on Curry if he tried to replicate that in the 80s. And I think Curry struggles a bit. And it's not because of his skill set. It's just that his skill set is not suited for the era that was the 80s. He's not. What I foresee with him is kind of like a career. I would say this is what I see with Steph Curry. I sort of see a career mimicking to a degree Drazen Petrovic, whereas he would struggle to find a spot. You know, that's why I think. You know, I think if he got into one of those situations where, you know, he started shooting too much or shooting from deep too much, the coaches would have got on him, benched him, and you know, he would have had to tone a lot of that down. I'm not saying he couldn't shoot open threes, but I think as his career progresses, he adjusts to the NBA, tones down the ball handle a little bit, plays more off the ball, tries to adjust more to the mid-range, shooting mid-range jumpers, the occasional three. I don't think he would drive to the basket as much because he would definitely get hurt. Definitely. And that's pretty much it. You know? I think he could be a star. I could see Curry, you know, having some years averaging 19, 20 points a game, but superstar, so that's how I kind of see it, man. You know, that's how I kind of see it. You know, I think that ultimately he would have some star years, but I think he struggles a bit at the start of his career. But that's just my opinion, you know. But tell me what you guys think.